What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. MTG here with another episode. If you guys are new to the channel, hi there. So this is my Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 end of year review. And obviously, when I call it the review, it's kind of sharing my experience and my thoughts and opinions about it. So I guess it is my own review of this device and obviously other devices here on the channel. But it's been a great run with the Galaxy Z Fold 7 since its launch. Heading into 2026, this is a great and powerful phone. But I feel like the hype has obviously kind of fallen off. And let's just get right into the design. So with the Z Fold 7, Samsung definitely made it much lighter, more balanced, and I think sturdier than its previous models. It's got a new hinge, which also makes it feel tighter and smoother. There's no wobble and no looseness over time. The only time you see it wobble is like when you put it on a table like this and it rocks. That's the only time it kind of wobbles, but that has nothing to really do with the hinge itself. That's just the camera cutout, which we're going to talk about the cameras in a little bit. Now the crease here is still present for those wondering, but it's noticeably softer and less reflective. So it's much better than previous series. Yeah, you can feel when you're running your finger over it, but it's not as evident as previous models. I can tell you that, and so much better. Now, there is the build of this, and it's built really great. It is super thin. I believe it's like 4.1 millimeters when unfolded, and I think 8.6 or 8.9 when folded. So like it really feels super thin when unfolded, but like just a regular conventional smartphone when it is folded. Now it also does have water resistance, which is great. The cover display has been awesome. It's a little bit wider too than its previous model, so it feels like a conventional smartphone. I absolutely love it. Super thin bezels all around. That's one of the downsides with like the Pixel. It doesn't have super thin bezels. Like it has like a big chunk on the side. And even when you go to the internal display, it's the same thing, super thin bezels. But talking about the display, the inner display is now 8-inch. You don't get a UDC under display camera, you get a regular camera now, which I'm perfectly fine with. But you know, if they went with no camera, just got rid of the internal, inner display camera completely, I would have been fine with that too. The outer display is also great. Both of them are 120 hertz, and you really can't go wrong with the quality of them. Absolutely love it. You feel like you are certainly carrying like a mini tablet. But I love using like Clash of Clans, Call of Duty on this much larger inner display. And then obviously just for browsing the web too, I love using the inner display, and YouTube is obviously number one when it comes to using this larger display. But once you start using this inner display, it's just like super hard to go back to using just a cover display, or if you're using a regular smartphone, just that one display. This 8-inch display is actually phenomenal. I think it's the best inner display of a foldable that I personally have used. Absolutely love it. Now, again, with this camera, I don't use it. I don't use the inner displays camera at all. I don't really even use the outer displays camera that often either. So if it wasn't there, whatever, like I would have been perfectly fine. Even if it was still a UDC, I still would have been fine, even though the quality is potato-like. I would have been fine with it regardless. But overall, the build quality on this has been much improved. I really do like what Samsung has done here. With the build quality, maybe the camera cutout is a little like, again, when you put it against a table, it rocks. Like that does really stick out like a sore thumb. But other than that, this is super premium and super clean. I also do love this blue color that Samsung has done with the Z Fold 7. So like I'm thinking design-wise, there's obviously improvements that can be made with its successor when it comes out in 2026. But so far, I think Samsung did a pretty good job. Now, there is a fact that with the Z Fold 7, there is no S Pen support, and I know a lot of people have voiced their concerns and they're not really happy about it. I'll tell you this, based on just my experience with previous Folds too. I have the Fold 6 still, and I don't use the S Pen. Like I don't use an S Pen on the Fold 6, so coming into the Fold 7, I didn't really worry about it too much. I know there are those who use a previous Fold specifically because it has a larger display, but also has S Pen support. I don't, so that's just my end. Like they got rid of it because it doesn't, the digitizer and all that stuff. But for me, it's not too much of an issue. But for others, I understand why. And if that's the case, we gotta kind of hope that Samsung brings it back with the Z Fold 8. I don't know. Really don't know if they'll bring it back. I think within a couple of years they'll get rid of the S Pen altogether, even with the Galaxy S Ultra lineup. I think with the S26 Ultra they'll have it, but maybe a year or two after that they'll get rid of it. I don't know. That's kind of what it's looking like, but maybe they may surprise us and they'll bring it back. Who knows? But that's what I have to say about the S Pen not having S Pen support. Let's get into the performance. It's a beast. It's got 12 gigs of RAM. It's got the Snapdragon 8 Elite. It's got a half a terabyte of storage. Like, it's got all the great stuff here. You really can't go wrong. Multitasking is incredibly smooth. You get One UI 8 right here. I got Android 16 on board. Again, when it comes to Samsung's performance department, they've done so much throughout the years. I've used TouchWiz UI before. I've used Samsung Experience before. I've used all of its operating, like its custom skins before, and One UI has been super clean. It's been honestly the best. And whatever it comes to, whatever task you're throwing at, it's going to tackle it at ease. And I know the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 is now on the market and is getting into more and more phones. We're going to get it with the Galaxy S26 Ultra. But that doesn't mean that this Snapdragon 8 Elite, just because it's it's going to be a year old in 2026, it's a slouch. It's no slouch. This is still a very powerful chipset that will get the job done. Running a bunch of apps in the background, switching from one app to another, having two apps open at the same time, like multitasking. I don't really use multitasking too much because I just like using YouTube to its full potential. So like, for example, here's MTG. Like, let's just pull up. I just love watching it on the full display. And also, like, let's say like I'm eating breakfast or lunch and I'm at the table. I can go like this and bam. So now it's kind of folded halfway. I have the controls here on the bottom and the top. I usually use it like this, especially when I'm eating something real quick, or I have it on the side while I'm doing work in my office. I just have it put up like this and I'm all set to go. But overall, I really love using the Z Fold 7 for content consumption. When it comes to performance, you won't have any lags, any stutters, no overheating during heavy tasks whatsoever. And then the software, just One UI feels more fluid this year. No stutters, faster animations. It's hands down, I think the Z Fold 7 is the best productivity phone available. You do get Galaxy AI, which is great. I love using Samsung's Galaxy AI like photo editor, which is awesome. It does a phenomenal job. I think it's the best out of Pixel, Apple, and Samsung. Galaxy's Magic Editor, well, they call it a different name, but Galaxy's Magic Editor for photos is phenomenal. Absolutely great. And when I went to Galaxy Unpacked in the summer, we tried it out with the Z Fold 7. It was great. We took the cameras out. We went on a little New York City trip, and it was phenomenal. It did a great job. But that's going to bring me into the camera department. With the Z Fold 7, we're getting that new 200 megapixel main camera. And honestly, I feel like Samsung should have just taken the S25 Ultra camera setup and put it here on the Z Fold 7. I would have been much more happy. I think a lot of people would have been much more happy. Now, it doesn't get things like 100x zoom, so there is, you're not getting that. You get up to 30x. In fact, we can go to 30x zoom, and that's really it. You're not getting 100x zoom on this, which is a bit unfortunate. But you do get the 200 megapixel main camera, so you will get those detailed results. And you do have to change it. So its default is 12. You have to go to 200. Obviously, it's going to get more detailed results. It's going to take up a little bit more storage. Let's take a picture of right here. We got Raging Bolt. We got Gouging Fire. And then we got the Walking Wake right there. Let's take one more. There we go. Yeah, that looks great. Gouging Fire, which is the Paldean form of, or the Paradox form of Entei, which Entei is my favorite Pokemon, by the way. But yeah, the cameras are great. I really do like it. Again, if they brought the Ultra, because for me, a Fold is Ultra. I think a Fold is an Ultra device, and you're paying a premium like $19.99, $2,000 for this device. Like, you should probably be getting the best of the best. It's got a great camera setup overall, but it's not the best of the best. But when you put it against other foldables, I think it does a great job. Now again, I already talked about, you know, having this camera in the inner display. I don't use it. Front display camera on the outer display. Like, I don't use that either. Video quality is good. It's stable. It's got pretty good results. Selfie qualities, I don't use it. But I've tried it. I just don't use it, and it's all right. Like, that's all I have to say. If you want to get into making content, I think this is a great device. Again, you're paying a premium, so you would expect to get a much better camera. Like, you would probably want to get the S25 Ultra, but you don't get it, so maybe next year? Who knows? Now, the battery has been the biggest improvement. Even though we didn't get a physically larger battery capacity, we've still gotten a battery improvement, at least on my end, with the Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset. Because of it, thanks to it, we're getting about 6.5, at least I am, of screen on time, a lower standby drain, a cooler temperature during long sessions, which I have noticed. This lasts me all day. Like, this is the first Fold from Samsung that has comfortably lasted me through a full heavy usage. And what I mean by heavy usage is it kind of, everyone's usage varies. So battery life, I guess, does vary from person to person. But for me, it's the apps you see here on the home screen that I'm using consistently. I'm taking notes quite often. I use it to send emails, browse the web on Google Chrome, you know, search things up, YouTube Studio, watching YouTube videos, obviously. I have my Notion widget right here, which always, it's not been acting great so lately. So Call of Duty, mobile, Clash of Clans. We've got all of the social media platforms that I'm using for MTG. So, like, I'm always busy. We got the collector app here, which I kind of track my Pokemon card collection, as well as Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I do have Yu-Gi-Oh cards, not as significantly, not as much as my Pokemon card collection, but I still collect Yu-Gi-Oh. I still love, I used to love playing the game Yu-Gi-Oh, but now I don't really play as much. But I'm more intact of how to duel rather than to play the cards for Pokemon. I used to play them, but not anymore. But anyway, the battery life, again, for me, it's been great. It truly has been, and I really can't complain with it. The only thing I can complain about is the charging speeds. Like, 25 watt wired. Samsung, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is a $2,000 phone. We get like 25 watts wired charging. That's outdated. Going into 2026, we should get much faster charging. And wireless charging, yes, it's here, but obviously it's not that fast. But I can get by with that. It's the wired charging that kind of, you know, frustrates me. The speakers, the connectivity, the extras, all that stuff. Speakers are great. They're louder and fuller. Noticeable improvement over the Fold 6, which is great. It does work well on T-Mobile's network. I've had no issues when calling on both ends. So that's a good improvement, I guess, or a good thing to know, because people still use their phones to call, including myself. I actually prefer calling over texting. I don't use a fingerprint scanner on here. It is embedded into the power button. I don't use it, but I have seen other people use it, and it seems to work really great. And then, again, you know, just not having that S Pen support, Samsung removing it, it's not going to be great for those who relied on it with their past Folds that wanted to make the upgrade. But I want to talk about the things that kind of aged well with this. The hinge, it's still tight, it's smooth, it's durable. The battery life, great improvement year over year, better than last year's for sure. Displays, both improved, larger display, both in the inner and outer, which is great. And the software, Samsung still, I think, in the foldable space, they get the job done when it comes to user interface and software in the Folds. Fold and Flip, I'll put it that way. What hasn't aged well? The charging speeds. 25 watts. It's annoying. It really is. Especially when you use other devices that have like 45 watts. Again, the S25 Ultra has 45 watts. Why doesn't this? I don't know. Who knows? Maybe next year. We'll see. Power users who want cameras, they're great. But again, they're not Galaxy S Ultra level. There's no S Pen support. So that's going to disappoint a lot of power users. Now, who should buy the Z Fold 7? Well, one, if it's a power user who doesn't use an S Pen, who wants both a phone and a tablet in one, this is going to be that phone. And I've seen more and more people lately buying folds and flips, which is great. Multitaskers who love split screen productivity. I personally don't use this for split screen, but I do, and I have seen people who do use it for that use. And obviously, if you're in the Samsung ecosystem, it's going to work great with you. And then creatives who benefit from the large inner display, whether you're editing, storyboarding, reading, scripting, whatever the case may be. I think this is going to be great for you. Now, who should skip this? Well, one, people who want the absolute best camera quality. I'd probably tell you to get the S Ultra at this point. Maybe wait until the Galaxy S26 Ultra. But if you're like, oh, I don't need to wait, then S25 Ultra is also going to be a great choice. Those who want extremely fast charging, you're not getting it here. Those who want S Pen support, you're not going to get it here. So you're going to have to look for the S25 Ultra. And then those who just want small, compact phones, which I do love. I love carrying small, compact, yet powerful phones, but I also do like carrying this fold. So it's like, I don't know. I like carrying, maybe it's because I carry two phones, so I can use a fold, but I can also use a compact phone on the side as well. But just to wrap things up, the Z Fold 7 is Samsung's most refined foldable yet. And that's to be expected. Better performance, brighter displays, and better displays, better thermals, stronger battery life. Now, it still is going to have some room for improvement for next year, as other, old phones usually do. But this finally feels like a fully mature and reliable foldable daily driver. Like, this truly feels like a foldable that I can easily recommend to the average person. Not just, the foldable segment used to be like a enthusiast segment where it was just like those who were interested in tech and everything like that. But I think now this Fold 7 can appeal to the mass. At least that's just my take on it. Now, if you're upgrading from a Z Fold like 3, 4, 5, or even you're getting into foldables for the first time, this Fold 7 is going to be worth it. It's not perfect, but it's the most complete fold Samsung has ever made. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, definitely be sure to Superman a like button, comment down below, and best of all, share this video because it really does help out the channel out a lot. Will help push my content out to more people. Definitely be sure to check out my latest wallpaper pack right here. It is called Lava Flow. I'll be leaving a link down below. This is actually one of my favorites that I've made so far, and I think you guys will enjoy it too. But also links to like the Fold 7 and other products that I use will be in the description down below. That's been it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you all in the next video.